We share. Oh, take a ride.
My name is Jegede Joel Asuku. I am from Kogi State, Okene precisely. I am born into the family of Special Senior Apostle Timothy Ogirima Jegede. Jegede is my surname. I am a complete Ibira by tribe. Some people used to ask me the question, how it come about the name Jegede? So, according to the history of my family, my grandfather were among the early people from Okene, Kogi State, that trek all the way from Okene to Lagos. So in searching for a green pasture, and they first settled at Agege. Then according to history, they later on moved to Alabado. Then they are using Alabado as farm center. Then later on, they shifted the farm to Songo, Ota. So, and up to now, we still have one family house at Songo, Ota. While growing up, I am a wonderful child, being very stubborn of the family. I was very stubborn, and glory be to God that I have disciplinarian as a family. Both my mother and my father, they are a tough disciplinarian that I have ever seen. So, and they tried their best in molding me to the man that I am becoming, because I don't think I have fully become as I wanted. So I come to understand that when you are destined, there are always a force that will fight against you. So I was 8 years old when I first ate food poisoning. So, and again, 2016, August 26 precisely, then I had another encounter again where I ate with people and I was poisoned from the food again. So, and from that day, that is why I hardly eat with crowd. So, because in 2 of these occasions that I was poisoned, they are from food poison that I ate with crowd. I ate with peers. So all of a sudden, then I took poison from it. It was so funny, and you can't explain it. So you can't explain it. There is a will from God upon everyone, as we used to say, like God's will, and we also have our own will. But I come to know that, in actual sense, God gave us our free will, so that we can use the free will He gave to us to serve His own will. Unlike growing up, I cannot say that I am my father's favorite, because if you have a father as a disciplinarian, when you fuck up, you treat your fuck up straight away. So you don't know at times if you are his favorite or not. But I know that I have a kind of bond with that man. I have a kind of bond that he actually used to pour his heart to me. Then he wanted me to be a teacher. While growing up, I discovered that I like watching film. I can lock myself indoor and watch film all through the day. I began to wonder, how do they do this? How come about this action? So that was what led my journey to study film. So, but I said, I have my own will, my father have his own will, and God have his own will. So my father's will is for me to be a teacher. That was why growing up, he made everything possible, and he found his way that I should have a grade 2 teaching certificate. Then immediately, he fought his way that I should be employed. I was employed as a teacher, primary school teacher. Then I was given primary 5 in the year 2004. Then I was teaching. Then they expected me to continue from there and have my NCE. So when the local government called us that are grade 2 teachers, they said, we are going to give you people chance to study, to go for further studies, so that you will not just end up as a grade 2 teacher. So I told the person they sent to us, I said, can I use my opportunity to do something else? So the person said, even if we cover you up, but when you return, we won't be able to keep you as a grade 2 teacher because we are going to sack you. It's a crossroad for me. It's a crossroad for me. Then I made my choice. You know what I will go for. I opted to study film at National Film Institute. So that was, when I was coming, I already knew what is going to happen. So that was why when Governor Yaya Bello came in 2016, my teaching appointment was finally terminated. Though I did not even, take it to heart as if I lost a job, because I don't even like to be a teacher in the first place. So, but another part of me is that even while growing up, for the fact that my father was an apostle, even each time we have visitors visiting our house, pastors visiting our house, maybe for pastors meeting, for any briefing or the other, they used to say that, you will take after your father. Because we used to see, we are seeing the hand of God upon you. Most especially, I have one man of God that is so dear to my heart, Pastor Udo of Living Faith. The first day he saw me, he said, your father is an apostle? I said, yes. He said, the oil of the apostleship has flown onto your head. All this while, I ignore it because that is not my will. My father wanted me to be a teacher. I want to be a filmmaker, and God wants me to be a pastor. So I have been dodging this thing. Each time I find myself in revelation, it's either I am teaching people in the church, or it's either I am praying for people in the street, even anywhere. I find myself praying for people. I find myself teaching in the church. Then I will wake up from the dream. I say, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. I don't have to be a pastor. My father is already a pastor. Then why should I be a pastor? Then I should have my own will. We call it a permissive will. We said there is God's will and there is permissive will. So I should follow my permissive will. Yeah. Then the one thing that I hold tenaciously is godly life. I said, once one is godly, then it doesn't mean that you must climb pulpit. It doesn't mean that you must hold a title. You must be a prophet. You must be a pastor, evangelist, or whatsoever. Then just try to live a life that pleases God. Then whatever you want to do, do it. But that boils down to satisfaction. I also discover in my life that human beings run after satisfaction. Everybody wanted to be satisfied. In whichever job you were doing, you want to be satisfied. Then I wasn't left out. I always wanted to be satisfied. But in as much that I love filmmaking, at times I would take a shot. I would say, wow, I love this shot. But burning down inside me, I am not enjoying life the way it should. Burning down inside me, I always feel that something is missing. Most especially when I am alone, sitting alone, without anyone, it will just cross my heart. You should be doing something for God, but you decided not to. You should be doing something for God. When this thought comes upon me, then I try to wave it off. I shouldn't be a pastor. Then I just said that, okay, there is another way to route it out. Then I became serious in church activities. So is it covenant hour? I'm always there. Midweek services, I'm always there. Then Sunday service, I'm always there. As a matter of fact, I am the choir director of my local assembly. Then we have what we call home cell, the church in the house, that every Saturday, then in the evening, we go for various churches, then various churches in the house. Then I am one of the church in the house minister. So I just felt that this alone is enough. So it's enough that I should not come into the field plainly as a pastor. But each time I sit down, it keep on coming. Each time I sit down, it keep on coming. And funny thing, before I got married, my wife have once asked me, said, the way I am seeing you, the way you act at times, I'm scared you might be a pastor. I have sworn to my wife that I'm not going to be a pastor. Why should I be a pastor if my father is already one? Then I shouldn't be. Then I have another road to cross there. Then, when I could not stop this revelation upon revelation, then there was a time I met a man, Pastor Izzy, at Babcock University. Pastor Izzy called me and said, Jegede, the way I see you, you have the calling of God upon you. I said, I have the calling of God, how? So he just laughed and said, okay, please, can you do this assignment for me? Go and pray and ask God, what do you want me to do now? I said, okay. I was already fasting by that moment. I just choose to fast. So I used to fast often. Then I was already fasting. Then I said, okay. He gave me 3 days. He said, within 3 days, God will minister to you. Then I was asking God at that moment, what exactly do you want me to do? By using the book of Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 1 and 2. God spoke unto Jeremiah, go to the potter's house. I will show you, I'll tell you, I'll speak unto you when you get to potter's house. So when Jeremiah got to potter's house, Jeremiah said he met a potter molding a potter on the wheel. And the potter and the pot and the clay that he was molding with mar, and he pressed it, compressed it again, add water, remold another one. And God began to speak to him. Don't you think I can mold Israelites, compress them and remold them? Then I began to use this verse to pray. God, what exactly do you want me to do? How do you want to mold me? What do you want to transform me? And a striking revelation came again. Then I saw a paper given to me. Inside that paper, the heading was, take care of the ministry given to you. This was in the year 2020, March precisely. Then take care of the ministry given to you. Then every other thing became blunt. So I woke up from that revelation. I said, wow. Then I came to him. This is what I have seen. He said, go, there is more you are to see. Then I went back again, I prayed. The second revelation that came is that I was given a red pure cloth, and it has a design of red inside this red cloth, and it's a beautiful color. And so to say, red is my favorite. Red is my favorite color. Then I came to him. Pastor Eze, this is what I saw again. I saw a red in my dream. It was given to me. A hand from heaven gave me this cloth, a beautiful cloth. And I woke up from that revelation. He gave me a book. Read this book. He just turned to some chapters of the book, and I went to a certain page of that book that displaying what some certain color represented the realm of the spirit. Then I now see that red represented the will of God. Then he started, what is that will of God that you have been dodging all through your life? I said, well, all through my life, people have been telling me that you should be a pastor, you should be a man of the pulpit, but I think I have another will for myself. So, and I have been choosing my own permissive will. And he said, why don't you think it is a time for you to give it a try? So we also discussed things about satisfaction. How have you been doing? Have you ever been satisfied in all that you were doing? God gave you a will and you have chosen your own will. Then I said, surely I have never been satisfied. I have never been satisfied. So he now said, okay, why can't you pray more? What exactly God is sending you to do? We have seen, take care of the ministry. What is that ministry? Then I went to God again in prayer. Then a third revelation came. I was given a paper again. Inside that paper, word as in WORD was circled. Then apart from the circled, Then there are other words that are written like breakthrough, success, healing, lifting, blessing. They were blunt. Then I began to ask myself, why the word inside the circle bright, then every other words around it were blunt? Then I heard a voice in that revelation that said, go and teach the word. So then I came back to him. I said, do you now see that God is calling you to his altar? So I try all my best to avoid it. I try all my best to ignore it. But the more I run away, the more pulpits keep on following me. So in all, I pick something, satisfaction. Until one is doing the will of God, you are not going to be satisfied. Whether there is money, even now, I see less money as I am a pastor. As a pastor, I see less money than before. But in that, I am more satisfied now than before. So this is just my second year. I just celebrated a year in the vineyard. So this is my second year. All I have been seeing is God's grace. Now I pray to God. I pray for people receive healing. I pray for things. God will just make things to happen on his own accord. Then I am more satisfied and more relaxed. So then before then, I have a road to cross about my wife. I call my wife. Then this calling have become a thing that I cannot avoid anymore. What should we do? The first question he asked me is that, as I know you, you are not a man that will like to cheat. You are not a man that will like to bring another thing. And I will not even support you to bring another thing into the things of God. How will we survive? So, yeah, I laughed. I said, okay, if God have called me into his vineyard, he that calls me will sustain me. Then there was a day I was now reading a book. Then there was a version or a verse on the Bible that said that if we minister a spiritual thing, then the people have to minister a material things back to us. So I hold on to this. That's been my moving forward factor. That once I am able to minister spiritual things to people, they will minister material things back to me. And finally, my wife accepted, and the ministry have been awesome. As I've just said, just celebrated 1 year in the vineyard of God. God have been really merciful. And one good thing, God have been really taking care of my material needs. So, to people out there who have not known the call of God upon their life, or who have known and they are playing to my own way as I have did, thinking of it that you have your own will and God have his own will, then I want you to know that your own free will that you think that you have, God actually gave it to you so that you should use it to serve his own will. Then discover your area where God wanted you to serve. Then, but in all this, let me tell you how I discover my area. Anytime I found myself in a particular place and the word of God is not well taught, or somebody is misinterpreting the Bible to suit their own, cause, it usually used to get me angry. That this is not what, in my heart, I'll be burning. That this is not how it's supposed to be. In my heart, I'll be burning that, I want these people to be taught. I want everybody to come to the knowledge of God the way it should. Not that you should just be patching things up and cover some things up without revealing the truth of who God is. If you are at this crossroad, go unto God on your knee. It was the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I use Jeremiah 18, 1 and 2. Then maybe you take it to verse 4. Then you can as well do the same thing. Go down on your knee. God, What do you want me to do? What do you want me to become? What are you molding me for? In what area do you want me to go on for you? Then I come to know one thing. They that knows their God, they are the only people that are going to be strong. And they are the only people that are going to do exploit. They are the only people that are going to resist the devil. And when they resist the devil, they become an overcomer. Thank you.